The stars were quiet, silent, and cold. They blinked above the shattered remains of the Zelari royal flagship. The great ship, once a symbol of power and elegance, now floated in pieces over the dead moon of Myronene. Its hull was torn open like a wounded animal. Fire danced across metal bodies, floated weightless in the void, and debris spiraled slowly through space. Princess Avriel Zeller had never known fear until that moment. Inside her escape pod, she gasped for air. Blood dripped from a gash on her forehead, sliding down her cheek in a slow trail. Her eyes were wide with shock and pain. One of her legs was twisted unnaturally, and the pod's life support system was flickering red. Her royal armor, once shining with white and gold, was cracked and burned. She had been betrayed just 1 hour ago. The ship was on its way to the peace summit on Hyler 3. The princess was the face of the new diplomatic mission. Brilliant. Trained in 10 languages and known for her calm and grace, her people believed she would lead the Zelari Dominion into a new age of peace. But someone had other plans. The attackers came without warning, stealth ships, black as shadow, using cloaking technology no Zelari ship could detect. It wasn't pirates. Pirates didn't strike like this. These were professionals. Cold, fast, precise. They boarded the flagship, cut through security like it was paper, and made their way straight to the command deck. Avriel remembered her guards yelling. She remembered a plasma explosion. Then darkness now. She was here, in a broken pod. Falling through the atmosphere of Myra-9, the pod shook violently as it entered the moon's thin atmosphere. Flames licked the windows. The navigation system screamed warnings in 5 languages. She whispered a prayer not for survival, but for a clean death. But fate wasn't that kind. With a final scream of metal and fire, the pod smashed into the icy surface of Myronene. The crash left a long black scar in the frozen earth. For a long time, nothing moved. Wind howled across the empty plain. Ice cracked beneath the wreck. Then, inside the pod, a weak cough, Princess Avriel dragged herself from the wreckage, each movement slow and painful. Her leg was broken. Her ribs felt like glass. Her breathing was shallow, but she was alive, barely. She looked up at the gray sky, her vision blurry. "Someone, please." Her voice was soft. The air was thin. Her distress beacon blinked, then died. There was no one coming. The Zelari were a proud species. It was beautiful, long-limbed, with glowing violet eyes and hair that shimmered like metal threads. They believed themselves above all others. But lying in the snow, bleeding and broken, Avriel no longer felt proud. She felt forgotten, far away. Beyond the cliffs and storm clouds, someone was watching. A man, tall, worn, human. James Rourke adjusted the lens of his old binoculars and frowned at the smoke in the distance. His beard was scruffy, his jacket patched with old military seals. He looked like someone who had stopped caring about appearances long ago. Mira 9 was supposed to be empty, a frozen ball no one cared about. That was why he chose it. He lived alone, in an old Terran outpost built during the war years. Half the systems didn't work. The roof leaked, but it had heat, tools, food, and something rare in the galaxy's silence. Rourke liked silence. He hadn't spoken to another soul in over 2 years. When his scanner picked up a crash signal, he almost ignored it. He didn't want trouble. Last the time he helped someone, it cost him 3 ribs and a ship. But something about the signal, the way it cut out suddenly, made his instincts twitch. Old instincts. Marine instincts. He cursed under his breath, grabbed his coat, and went outside. The ride to the crash site took an hour. His old skimmer hummed and rattled across the ice. He followed the smoke trail through jagged valleys and frozen caves until he saw the pod burned, blackened, and half buried in snow. Rourke stepped off the skimmer and approached carefully, his rifle raised. "Anyone alive?" He shouted, no answer. He circled the wreck gun ready until he saw movement. A figure half covered in snow. Pale blue skin, glowing violet eyes. Zelari royal, from the looks of her armor. She looked up weakly, eyes narrowing in pain and shock. "Human," she whispered. Then she passed out. Rourke stared down at her. Everything in him said walk away. The Zellery Dominion had fought Earth for 20 years. They called humans brutes and primitives, treated them like vermin. Rourke had seen friends vaporized by Dominion cruisers. He had watched cities burn, but he also remembered what his captain used to say. "You're a soldier, not a killer. You help the helpless, even if they wouldn't help you." With a heavy sigh, he picked her up. She was light. Too light. She'd die if he didn't act fast. "All right, princess," he muttered. "Let's see if you can survive a little human medicine." Back at his outpost, Rourke laid her on the med table. He scanned her vitals, heart rate slow, internal bleeding, leg shattered. Zellery tech wouldn't help her here. He didn't have any, so he used what he had. Terran nanomeds, old military stock, designed for humans. It was a huge risk. Alien biology was tricky. The nanos might not work or worse. Kill her faster, but doing nothing guaranteed death. He injected the serum into her arm and watched. For minutes, nothing happened. Then her breathing steadied. Her pulse rose slightly. She was stable. For now, Rourke sat down and poured himself a cup of synth coffee. He watched her sleep and shook his head. "What the hell did you get yourself into, princess?" Hours passed. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, the fire crackled softly. Avriel stirred. Her eyes opened slowly. She looked around, confused, then focused on the man sitting across from her. "You," she whispered. "Yeah," Rourke replied. "You're in my home." "Don't thank me yet." She tried to sit up. Pain shot through her side, and she gasped. "Lie down," he ordered. "You're in no shape to play hero. You saved me." He nodded. Her voice trembled. "Why?" He stood, refilled his coffee, and replied without looking at her. "Because that's what humans do." Avriel stared at him, her mind racing. She had been taught humans were monsters, violent, dirty, emotional creatures, unfit for space travel. Her tutors warned her never to trust them. But this one had saved her, and now the only monster she feared was the one who ordered her death. She lay back down, her thoughts heavy, as the fire flickered beside her. The room was dim. The lights flickered weakly from old ceiling panels. Metal walls groaned as wind from Myronine blew across the outpost. Princess Avriel lay on a narrow bed, covered in a rough brown blanket. Her broken leg was wrapped in something. Strange human medical fabric. Her ribs were bandaged. Her body still ached, but she was alive. She turned her head and saw the man again. He was sitting at a workbench, repairing a long metal device with quiet focus. A human. His face was rough. A short, thick beard covered his jaw. His brown eyes were tired but sharp. He looked like someone who had seen too many battles and lived. Through all of them, the princess blinked, her voice soft. "Who are you?" The man didn't turn around. "Name's James Rourke." Or just Rourke. "Doesn't matter, you're Terran." He gave a small laugh. "Last I checked." Avriel's face tensed. "You saved me?" "I did, but why?" He finally turned, looking directly at her. His voice was calm, but cold. "I don't like seeing people bleed to death in the snow, even aliens." Avriel frowned. "I am not just any alien. I am a princess." "Yeah, I figured." "Fancy armor, royal tattoo, perfect speech. Think humans are dumb, but we know a few things." She sat up slowly, wincing in pain. "You should have left me." Rourke raised an eyebrow. "Believe me, I thought about it." For the next few days, the outpost was quiet. Rourke gave her food. Simple human meals, protein paste, dry bread, hot broth. Not what she was used to, but it kept her alive. He checked her bandages, adjusted the medicine doses, and then left her alone. She hated needing his help, but without him, she would have died. As she got stronger, she began walking with support. The outpost was small. One sleeping room, a workbench, storage lockers, and a fire pit in the center. There were strange things to her in tech. Old war gear, trophies from battles. And in one corner, a photo of a smiling human woman holding a little girl. The edges were torn, the colors faded. "Is this your family?" Avriel asked one day. Rourke didn't answer. She stared at the fire. She didn't ask again. They spoke more as days passed. Sometimes they argued. She called him crude. He called her spoiled. But sometimes they shared stories. She spoke of the royal palace, the floating cities, the crystal libraries of Zeller Prime. He told her about Earth, about cities made of glass, forests that breathed mist, and oceans that stretched forever. But his eyes always darkened when he spoke of the war. "You fought in the Human Dominion War?" she asked one night. He nodded slowly. "Frontline soldier. 4th Terran Marines. We weren't the strongest, but we never gave up." Avriel was quiet. "My people said humans were violent, dangerous." He looked at her. "And your people? Do you call sending stealth assassins after their own princess?" She froze. Her face paled. "How do you know?" Rourke stood and walked to a panel on the wall. He pressed a button. A small holographic screen appeared, showing a damaged signal recording a Zellery message, scrambled but clear enough. "Target eliminated," a voice said. "Pod crash confirmed. No survivors expected. Repeat, the princess is gone." Hands shook. That voice. He was on my father's council. Rourke turned the screen off. "Someone wants you dead, and it ain't pirates. Looks like your own people stabbed you in the back." Avriel tried to think. Who could have? Betrayed her? Why? Her father, High Lord Zeller, had many enemies. But no one had ever dared touch the royal family until now. "I have to return," she whispered. "I have to warn my father." "You think they'll welcome you back with open arms?" Rourke asked. "If they sent ships once, they'll do." It again. She stood shakily. "I am the heir. I must do my duty." Rourke stared at her. "You're not in your palace anymore, princess. You're in a frozen hell, and someone out there wants you erased." "I don't care." Rourke's voice rose. "Well, I do." They stood in silence. The fire cracked between them. Finally, he sighed and turned away. "You don't even know who to trust. You go back now. You'll walk into your own death." Avriel clenched her fists. "Then what do you suggest? Hide forever? Stay here like a ghost?" "No," he said. "We find out who's behind this. Then you go back with proof. With power." She looked at him. "You want to help me?" He shrugged. "I didn't say that. I just don't like dirty politics, or cowards with knives." The next morning, Rourke showed her something hidden in the back of the outpost. A long metal object, covered in dust. An old Terran stealth shuttle. "It still works?" she asked. "Barely. But it's got jump drives, cloak tech, and signal scramblers. Military grade. Used it last when the Dominion tried to vaporize a refugee ship. Got them out. You helped aliens before? I help the ones who deserve it?" She looked at him for a long moment. "Maybe humans aren't all savages after all," he smirked. "And maybe not all aliens are arrogant snakes." They both laughed. A little. The tension cracked for a moment. Then Rourke showed her a map of Dominion listening posts. "There's a station nearby. Small crew. High-level intel passes through there." Avriel's eyes lit up. "If we can access their data, we might. Find the one who gave the kill order." She nodded. "Then let's do it." The journey to the listening post took 12 hours. They flew low, under sensor range. The shuttle shook and hummed, but Rourke kept it steady. Avriel sat beside him, watching the stars. "This doesn't feel real," she whispered. "War never does," he replied. When they reached the station, they landed behind a ridge. It was a small dome with 2 towers, surrounded by auto turrets. "Think you can get us in?" she asked. Rourke smiled. "Princess breaking into Dominion bases was my full-time job once." That night, they moved in the dark. He disabled 2 turrets with EMP darts. She used a hidden passcode to unlock the side door. Inside. They moved fast. 2 guards were knocked out with stun pulses. Rourke hacked the data core. Avriel watched as lines of code flashed across the screen. Then there it was. A message. A direct kill order, signed with a royal seal. She gasped. This is my father's advisor, Lord Tyrion Voss. Rourke copied the data. Now we've got names, he said, and justice. She whispered. Back on the shuttle, Avriel sat in silence. The stars passed above them. I was blind, she said. I thought my world was perfect. Perfection is a lie, Rourke said. But survival, that's real. She looked at him. I don't understand you, Rourke. You fought my people. Why help me? He stared at the controls, then at her. Because once a Zellery soldier saved my life. She said not all humans are monsters. Avriel's eyes widened. She never gave her name, just smiled, then died pulling me from fire. He paused. Maybe I'm just repaying the favor. She reached out slowly and touched his arm, then, thank you. Not as a princess, but as a person. For a moment, the human and the alien sat side by side. Two enemies, now allies. Maybe even something more. The stars looked peaceful again, but peace was a lie. Princess Avriel Zeller sat quietly in the corner of Rourke's shuttle, holding the data crystal tightly in her hand. That small, glowing object held the proof that someone from her own court had betrayed her Lord Tyrion Voss. Her father's closest advisor. He had sent the kill order. He had tried to erase her from history. Rourke was at the controls, flying them low over the icy terrain of Myra. His eyes scanned the radar, sharp and alert. They were both silent for a while. Finally, Avriel spoke. I used to trust him. Lord Voss taught me strategy when I was a child. He called me his bright little star. Rourke didn't take his eyes off the sky. Bright stars get snuffed out first, princess. Especially when they shine too close to the throne. She turned her head and stared at the stars above them. So what now? We return to my people with this proof and demand justice. Rourke sighed. You think it'll be that easy? I am royalty. He is a traitor. He glanced at her. He's not just a traitor. He's smart, careful. He probably has others on his side. If you return too early, they'll finish thee. Job Avriel's jaw tightened. So we do nothing? No, Rourke said. We make allies and we plan. They stopped at a hidden cave deep in Myrenane's mountain range. It was once a mining outpost. Now it was silent, empty, and useful. Rourke turned on the old systems. Lights flickered to life. Walls hummed. He set the shuttle to recharge and turned to Avriel. We stay here for a few days, he said. Need to patch the shuttle's cloaking system. It's unstable. You rest and study the data. Look for more names, contacts. Anything, Avriel nodded. And after that, we find someone who'll believe us. She narrowed her eyes. Who do humans go to when they're hunted by their own kind? Rourke gave a small smile. Psst. Like me. 2 days passed. Avriel spent hours reading through the stolen Dominion messages. Each file, each report, showed her more of the truth. Lord Voss had slowly gathered support from the inner court. He promised a stronger Dominion. He said the princess was too soft, that she would weaken the empire with peace. Didn't just want her gone, he wanted the throne. Meanwhile, Rourke worked on the shuttle and prepared supplies. At night, they sat near the small heater and shared quiet moments. Rourke told her stories of Earth's oceans that smelled like salt and wind that carried the sound of birds. Avriel told him of the floating gardens of Zeller Prime and how the moons looked like silver coins in the sky. They laughed. Sometimes they argued, but something was growing between them, something neither one wanted to say out loud. On the third day, the radar beeped. Rourke frowned. We've got movement. He tapped the screen. A ship was approaching fast and low. Not a merchant, not friendly. Avriel's face turned pale. Dominion? No. Too fast and looked Terran markings. He leaned in closer. I know that ship. Minutes later, the ship landed on the frozen plain outside the cave. Rourke stood outside, rifle in hand. Avriel stayed behind the rocks, watching. The ship door opened and a tall woman stepped out. Her skin was dark, her armor covered in battle scars. A red cloth was tied around her arm, the symbol of the Terran Ghosts. A rogue special ops unit. Mara Kale. Rourke lowered. His weapon didn't expect you to come all this way, she grinned. Word travels fast when a lost princess is found hanging out with a dead man. Avriel stepped forward carefully. You know him? Mara smirked. Everyone who's ever fought knows James Rourke. It's a ghost. A survivor. It's a guy who walks into a burning city and walks out carrying 3 wounded soldiers on his back. I retired, Rourke muttered. Mara raised an eyebrow. And yet here you are, protecting royalty? Avriel stepped closer. We need help. My own people are trying to kill me. Mara looked at her, expression unreadable. You're Zalari. I am also the only chance to stop a war before it begins. Mara was silent for a long time. Then she smiled. All right, listen. Inside the cave, they showed her the Prufos's kill order. The names of those helping him, the secret movement within the court. Mara paced slowly, thinking. This is dangerous, she finally said. Voss has powerful friends, if he controls. The royal guard, even the emperor, might not be safe. Avriel's eyes sharpened. He is my father. Exactly, Mara replied. Which makes you his greatest threat. House won't stop. You show your face, and he'll burn half a planet to silence you. Rourke crossed his arms. That's why we need allies. People who can move in the dark, like the ghosts. Mara laughed. You want me to pull my old unit out of hiding for a royal mission? Rourke nodded. Yes. She looked between them. Then, slowly, she said, I'll call them. That night, as Mara sent encrypted messages across the stars, Avriel stood on the cliff outside, looking up. The moons of Myronine glowed faintly. Rourke's wind brushed her face. Rourke walked up beside her. You should rest. I can't, she whispered. I keep thinking, what if I hadn't survived the crash? What if Voss became regent and twisted the Dominion into something cruel? Rourke looked up at the sky. Then the galaxy would have lost one more good person. And it happens more often than you'd think. She looked at him. Do you really think I can stop him? He turned to face her. You've survived a crash. You've uncovered a conspiracy. You're standing here on a dead moon, refusing to give up. You're stronger than you know. She smiled, a small but real smile. And, you, Rourke? Why are you still here? He shrugged. Because I don't believe in lost causes. And because I believe in you. For a moment, they didn't speak. Then, softly, Avriel leaned in. Their foreheads touched. A quiet moment in the middle of chaos. They said nothing, but something had changed. The next morning, Mara returned with news. My team is in. They've tracked a signal from one of Voss's agents. A supply drop's being made on Dara, 4 secret landing, unregistered. We intercept it, we can capture a key player. Ariel nodded. Then we move. Rourke checked his rifle. Gear up, princess. This time we strike first. They launched 2 hours later. Their shuttle rose through the ice clouds of Myronine and vanished into the stars. Behind them, the cave fell silent again. Ahead of them, danger, betrayal, and a growing war. But for the first time, Princess Avriel wasn't running. She was fighting back, and beside her, a human who had once been her enemy was now her strongest ally. The stars were burning. From the cockpit of the old Terran stealth ship, Princess Avriel could see Dara IV ahead, a small jungle-covered planet, glowing with deep green and gold lights. Mist surrounded its surface like smoke rising from a fire. Beside her, Rourke adjusted the ship's stealth system. No Dominion patrols yet, he said. But I don't trust this planet. It's too quiet. Avriel kept her eyes forward. Her face was calm, but her fingers gripped the edge of her seat. This is where the traitor's contact is landing, as Mara confirmed from behind. She stood beside the mission map, pointing at a red signal blinking near the southern hemisphere. According to Ghost Intel, Voss's courier is delivering a coded communication and rare weapons to a hidden base here. Avriel narrowed her eyes. Then we intercept it. Capture the contact. Force him to talk. Rourke smirked. You sound like a soldier now, Princess. I'm tired of running, she replied. They landed the shuttle deep in the jungle, under thick trees. Green vines wrapped around. Ancient stone ruins. Strange creatures chirped in the trees. The air was hot and heavy, full of mist. Rourke, Avriel, and Mara moved silently through the jungle, followed by two ghost operatives, slim-masked warriors dressed in camagray. Each of them carried weapons, but it was Avriel who led them now. Her eyes scanned ahead, focused. She was no longer just a royal, she was a hunter. After nearly an hour of climbing through dense foliage and stepping over glowing plants, Rourke raised a hand. Wait, he whispered. They crouched low behind a fallen tree. Through the thick leaves, they saw it. A small shuttle had landed in a clearing. 4 armed guards stood around it, their armor black with silver Dominion markings. Near them was a cloaked figure speaking with a hooded man. That's the courier, Mara said. The other is Voss's contact. Avriel watched closely. The hooded man pulled out a case, long and metal. When the courier opened it, a soft blue glow came from inside. Energy weapons, Rourke whispered. Illegal ones. The kind that can melt through armor in seconds? Why would Voss need those? Avriel whispered back. Rourke's face darkened. He's not just planning to take power, he's preparing for war. They needed a plan. We hit fast and quiet, Mara said. Stun them before they can signal for help. Not yet, Avriel interrupted. If we wait, we may hear names. Or Voss's next move. She pointed to a small rock ledge above the clearing. Let me get closer. Rourke frowned. Too risky. I've trained for infiltration, she said. Let me do it. He looked at her for a long second, then nodded. Be careful. Avriel moved like a shadow. Her Zellerai armor, now modified with human tech, gave her light steps and silent movement. She climbed to the ledge, crouched low, and listened. The courier was speaking. Voss is ready. Once the emperors move to the mountain palace, the strike begins. And the girl, the contact asked. Dead or soon will be? Avriel's eyes blazed. The contact nodded. Good. Once she's gone, no one will question Voss's claim to power. The courier laughed. She was weak anyway, trusting, naive. Avril's teeth clenched. She had heard enough. She tapped her cum. Now. The jungle exploded with motion. Mara and her team stormed the clearing with stun guns and EMP grenades. Rourke dropped from a tree, tackled a guard, and knocked him out with one punch. Avriel jumped from the ledge and landed near the contact. He reached for a weapon. To slow. She kicked the gun from his hand and slammed him against a tree. You remember me? The naive girl you left for dead? The man's eyes went wide. You're supposed to be. She punched him hard. It was over in 2 minutes. The guards were down, courier stunned, and the contact bound in power cuffs. Rourke looked around the clearing, breathing hard. That was too easy. It was supposed to be, Mara said. They didn't expect survivors. Avriel stood over the contact. Tell me, she demanded. Who else works with Voss? The man smiled with blood on his lips. You think this ends here? You have no idea how deep this goes? The council is split. Half want your head. The other half are too scared to help. She grabbed his collar. Then I'll show them fear, my kind. He spat. You're one royal. Girl with a broken throne. You can't stop what's coming. Rourke raised his gun. You want to test that? The man laughed. Kill me, it won't change anything. Avriel stepped back. No, but locking you in front of the whole Dominion. With a confession, might. Back at the shuttle, they locked the prisoner in a force cage. The data he carried revealed everything. Lists of supporters, supply routes, even fake news plans to smear Avriel's name if she reappeared. Mara shook her head. Voss is ready too. Take full control. Your return will throw everything into chaos. Avriel looked at the map of Dominion space glowing on the holoscreen. Then we give them chaos. We show the truth. Rourke leaned in. You ready for this, princess? Nodded. No more hiding. The ghosts sent messages across the stars to hidden allies, loyal commanders, ambassadors who remembered her. Within days, word began to spread. The lost princess lives. The Dominion court panicked. Voss held emergency meetings. Ships moved into orbit, but it was too late. The truth was out. Avriel stepped onto the bridge of the shuttle in royal armor Zalari, silver trimmed with Terran black. A new symbol glowed on her chest. The old Dominion star merged with Earth's eagle. She looked powerful, but more importantly, she looked right as they jumped toward the capital world. Zeller Prime, Rourke, stood beside her. He checked his weapon. Once we land, Voss will throw everything at us. Security drones, assassins, propaganda. I know, she said, but you're still going. I must. He smiled. That's the spirit. She looked at him. You've been my enemy. Protector, my friend. He raised an eyebrow. And now? She didn't answer. Instead, she leaned forward and kissed him. Gentle but real. When she pulled back, no. You're my hope. The twin suns of Zeller Prime rose slowly over the shining towers of the capital city. Gold light spilled over glass domes, metal bridges, in the towering palace that touched the clouds. It was a beautiful morning, but it would not stay peaceful. For long, in the sky above the city, a small Terran shuttle broke through the atmosphere. Silent and fast. Inside, Princess Avariel stood tall in her new royal armor. Her eyes were steady. Her heart was racing, but not with fear. This time it was with purpose. Rourke sat in the pilot's chair beside her. Mara and two ghost operatives stood ready, weapons in hand. This is it, Avariel said softly. Rourke looked at her. One way or another, it ends today. The ship landed in the Grand Plaza, just outside the palace gates. Normally, the area would be full of people, diplomats and soldiers. Now, it was silent. Only armed guards in Dominion black armor stood by the gates. Their weapons pointed forward. Avriel stepped out first. She didn't hide. The guards looked stunned. One of them lowered his weapon. Is that? Yes, the second guard whispered. That's the princess. She's alive. But then, a sharp voice came from a hovering speaker above the plaza. This is an illegal landing. All soldiers are to detain the intruders. Use force if necessary. It was Lord Tyrion Voss's voice. Don't listen to him, Avriel called out. Her voice echoed through the square.
Ow.
He lied to you. I am Princess Avariel Zeller, true heir to the Dominion throne. The guards hesitated. One stepped forward. We were told you died. Because Voss tried to kill me, she said. But I survived, and I've returned with proof. Rourke tossed a small projector on the ground. It flickered to life. The image of Voss's traitorous meeting on Dara, foreplayed in front of everyone, the weapons exchange, the plan to assassinate the Emperor, and his confession. Gasps spread through the crowd. Some soldiers lowered their weapons. Others looked at each other in shock. Avriel stood tall. You took an oath to protect the throne, she said, not to serve a traitor. Let me pass. Let me speak to my father. After a moment, the lead guard stepped aside. The throne room is open, he said. Will not stand in your way, princess. Inside the palace, chaos had already begun. Voss stood in the council chamber, surrounded by loyalists. He slammed his fist on the table. She's supposed to be dead. One of his commanders trembled, but the plaza guards refused to fire. The people saw Hershey spreading the video. Can't stop it now. Voss's eyes burned with rage. Then I'll do it myself. Avriel, Rourke, and the others marched through the golden halls of the palace. More guards stepped aside as they passed. Some knelt. Some saluted. Hope returned to the eyes of the people. They reached the throne room gates. Mara placed a hand on Avriel's shoulder. We'll hold the door. You go in. End it. Avriel nodded. She stepped through the huge doors alone. The throne room was vast, with silver pillars and glowing walls. At the far end sat the Emperor, her father. Looked weak, tired, and confused. Standing in front of him was Lord Voss. He turned sharply as Avriel entered. You, he spat. You should have stayed buried. Avriel walked forward, unafraid. You failed, Tyrion. The people know the truth now. Voss raised a hidden blaster from his robe. I'll finish it myself then, he fired. A beam of energy shot toward her, but Avriel moved fast. She activated her shield, blocking the blast, and charged forward. Voss tried again. Too slow, she kicked the blaster from his hand, tackled him, and slammed him into the floor. He growled. You don't deserve the throne. You're weak. You believe in peace. She leaned close. No, she said softly. I believe in truth. And the truth is stronger than fear. Guards stormed in, weapons raised, but they aimed at Voss. They pulled him away in chains. The Emperor stood weakly, supported by his advisors. He looked at Avriel with wide, tired eyes. Is it truly you? She nodded. I'm home, Father. He stepped forward, touched her face, and whispered, Forgive me, letting him near you. She hugged him tightly. You are safe now. We all are. Later. That evening news spread across the stars. The princess had turned. The traitor was captured. The people celebrated. Lights danced in the sky. Ships flew in formation. Peace was returning to the Dominion. But for Avriel, the celebration was quiet. She stood on a balcony, looking over the city she had once feared she'd never see again. Rourke joined her, a soft smile on his face. You did it, he said. She smiled. We did it. He nodded. You know, I never planned to get involved in royal politics or saving the galaxy. She looked at him. And yet, here you are. They stood in silence for a moment. Then she asked, What will you do now? Rourke hesitated. I thought about leaving, going back to my old ship, traveling again. Her voice was quiet. And now? He looked into her eyes. I think I'd rather stay. If there's a place for a human ghost among alien stars. Avriel reached for his hand. There's always a place, she said. For those who stood by me when everyone else left. He smiled, took her hand, and for the first time in a long time, he felt like he was home. Epilogue months later, the Dominion had changed. Avriel became High Princess Regent, while her father recovered. She cleaned the court of corruption. She brought in human advisors and forged new alliances. And beside her always was James Rourke. Her shield, her guide, her unexpected hope. People across the galaxy whispered the story like a legend. They left the alien princess wounded and abandoned. But a human saved her. And together, they saved everyone else.